So thank you all for the opportunities to spend a few minutes with you. What I thought I might do is just set the stage in terms of how work is evolving. We as a firm have done a fair bit of work with the World Economic Forum that we've presented at Davos, as well as give you a sneak preview into my upcoming book that John Boudreau and I have co-authored called Reinventing Jobs. After a long day at work and maybe a couple of beers, I can't think of a better place to start than Humpty Dumpty. Take us back to the old nursery rhymes. For 120 years, or 150 if you go back to the second industrial revolution, work has been done in jobs. You fast forward to the third, as we've done in our analysis with the forum, and you see the advent of outsourcing, work starting to escape the organizational boundary. And what we've seen now for the last 10 years or so in the fourth industrial revolution is a dramatic and radical shifting of how work is being done. Work escaping beyond the construct of a job, being rapidly deconstructed and automated, and being transformed in ways that we could never have imagined. And as a result, what is asked of us as professionals is now significantly different. Everything we do, think of every part of what you do in HR today. Every part of that is tied to this notion of a person in a position, right? How we recruit, how we reward, how we develop, how we redeploy. And what we're seeing now is this shift from that matching of a person to a position to the matching of skills to tasks on a much more fast-moving, volatile, plentiful basis. What we've seen is, just as Humpty fell off the wall, we're seeing that happen to jobs. So jobs are dead, long-lived jobs. What we're seeing is increasingly, if you think back to this third industrial revolution and we saw the advent of outsourcing, the average savings from outsourcing for most of our organizations, 25 to 30%. Some of the analysis that we've done for our clients has shown savings of 60 to 80% as a result of deconstructing jobs, applying automation to specific tasks, and reconstructing those jobs into new types of positions. And this is one of the things that I'd like you to leave with as you think about the evolution of work and technology. There is a lot of, shall we say, incorrect science about how automation will transform organizations and society. The work that we've done has shown that it's not going to be millions and millions of jobs that are destroyed, but lots and lots of tasks. So as opposed to lots of jobs being destroyed, lots of tasks within jobs, which will be affected as a result of automation. And the only way to think about that is looking at work at the elemental task level. And this is what we have in our book. It's essentially going to be the ability of HR, who knows jobs better than us, right? We built them, we designed them, we update them every single year. Being able to deconstruct and decompose those jobs into activities that are routine versus one-off, activities that are physical versus mental, activities that are done individually versus cognitively, or rather collaboratively, and then asking the question of what is the payoff from those activities? For some activities, we want no mistakes, no errors. For other activities, we want a higher level of productivity. And it's until you can get to that elemental activity, you can't really understand how technology and automation and alternative sources of work can be applied to the tasks. By some estimates today, we have 8 different means for getting work done. In the second industrial revolution, I either hired someone or I developed them. In the third, I now had the option of outsourcing this work to a lower cost location. Today, I've got talent on online marketplaces like Upwork. I've got independent contractors. If you're in consumer goods, you make aggressive use of volunteers on social media to promote your brands. And you have AI and robotics. Who's going to help business leaders navigate this new plurality of means for getting work done? Who's helped establish the compliance and the mechanisms for governing work in jobs when it was employees? We've got a running start in terms of extending that mindset and that model to apply to these alternative means of getting work done. But it's not until we get beyond the job can we actually understand how work is going to evolve. And I think the big opportunity ahead of us is to, as we deconstruct and look at these alternative means, understanding what work gets substituted because it's highly repetitive, it's done cognitively, and it's easily automated through robotic process automation or AI. What work gets augmented because algorithms are able to augment that human capability, freeing the individual up to express empathy, care, concern, those things that are truly human. And then what work actually gets created as a result. We've got an example in our book of oncology and how the role of the oncologist has shifted from performing the surgery to now orchestrating a team and using AI to do many of the things he or she might have done in the past. And this is the sneak preview into our book. We end it with these prognostications for what it means for a leader. The shift from organizing and filling jobs to increasingly deconstructing, automating, and reconstructing new types of positions. A shift from a mindset that we've all grown up with of learn, do, retire, to increasingly a mindset of learn, do, and rest. Our kids are going to need to be ready for at least 3 very different careers. And I don't mean going from talent management to compensation. I know that's really challenging. But I mean being retooled at least 3 times for very significant and different things. My compensation colleagues always worry about this. I think one of the biggest challenges that we're going to have is the shift from salaries for intact jobs to increasingly, as we deconstruct and apply automation and reconstruct, how do we get market prices for those tasks? Because your ability to compare that position in your organization to a position in another organization is going to be heavily compromised as a result of differential use of automation. So I think there's a real opportunity coming for those of us in compensation. And I skipped the third one because I think it's one of the most significant and important changes. We all have established a mindset of recruiting and developing based on employment qualifications, largely technical. Increasingly, as we've seen from our work with the World Economic Forum on the reskilling of the global workforce, that the definition of employment qualifications is not the same or even close to work readiness. We're seeing more and more as organizations recruit for skills, the blending of the left brain and the right brain, those arbitrary distinctions that we made for a long time of, oh, she's really good at the analytics and he's really good at the creative stuff. Completely bogus, because increasingly it's the ability to sort of take the analytics and use creativity to actually make it work within the context of an organization. And so this notion of work readiness is becoming important. The shift from job architectures, where again we matched a person to a position, to increasingly a work architecture that allows us to match skills to tasks, skills to projects, skills to multiple different ways of getting work done, to have that agile organization. And then the last piece is this notion of reskilling pathways. And this is where technology becomes a true enabler. If you're matching a person to a position and you're trying to plot that trajectory, which is either upwards or sideways, really easily done, right? We can all do that in our sleep and with a simple Excel spreadsheet. Now, if I'm trying to match technical skills, enabling skills, and the will of 100,000 people to numerous opportunities, be they jobs, be they tasks, projects, work with an alliance partner, this is what AI is perfectly suited to do. And so I'll leave you with jobs are dead, long live jobs. And I think we are at the golden age of this profession because no one else is better suited to actually take on this challenge and advise business leaders. I see a flashing red light. I think it's time to go. Thank you.